How's it going, everybody? And welcome to another edition of the Soccer Report podcast. I'm your host, Dante De Thomasis, alongside my co-hosts, Niko and Tony. We got a lot to talk about in this episode, guys. We got a TFC coming up. We got Champions League. We got maybe some FIFA stuff coming up with Alphonso Davies. We'll get into that. Should be a great podcast. But first, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Cataldi Fresh Market. Check them out, guys. They got 2 locations. One at Islington and Highway 7, and one at Keele and Lawrence. The one at Keele and Lawrence is very close, guys. We'll see what happens there. Very excited for that opening. And, of course, check out Cataldi for the deli, the produce, and the hot table. That is absolutely incredible. They're the best.
Support local.
Exactly, guys. During this time, it's been very difficult. Support small business, please, or else you are not going to get the quality that you guys deserve. I can guarantee you that. So, and guys, here we are. Another edition. Let's get right into it. Let's talk a little bit of TFC right now. Niko, you fired up. I can see that.
Do you guys enjoy the MLS Cup final? I mean,
I did, but not really, right? I mean, we watched Columbus Crew win. Like, really? That's
the thing. It's like, as a TFC fan, it's like, who do you want to win? Do you want to win Columbus, who started out as our rivals? I don't know if you guys remember the Trillium Cup days, but they started out as our rivals. Or do you pick Seattle, who has kind of default become our rivals just because of how many times we've competed against them in the MLS Cup finals? Honestly, I wanted Columbus to win just because I didn't want to see Seattle win again. Plus, a few ex-Reds on Columbus too, like Jordan Hamilton,
right,
and the center back, his name's
Joshua Williams.
Like, just see them win. It was nice. So I was happy Columbus was able to take home the victory in a dominant fashion at that too.
Yeah, there's some of their pickups were absolutely incredible, especially the Tigres pickup, Zelarayan. Absolutely incredible game he had. But, Tony, what did you think?
I was hoping Seattle was going to win the game because I can't stand Columbus. You know, they're ugly jerseys, ugly stadium, ugly name too. Like, you don't want that kind of team to win, but they did take apart Seattle, and it was impressive to watch.
They had COVID issues too, didn't they? Going into the game, they had a few players miss the game for COVID. Giassi Zardes was one of them, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, and the Santos guy, the Portuguese.
Yeah, Pedro Santos.
Yeah, he was out.
So, I mean, you're missing 2 good players. Everyone was writing them off against a Seattle team that's always been there. And the one thing I do have to say was great was how they booed the hell out of Don Garber when he came out at the end there. Because, I mean, they had the whole save the crew, trying to get them to move to Austin and everything like that. The fact that they not only saved their team, they win an MLS Cup. I mean, it's a great story. It just so happens I'd much rather see Toronto there instead of anyone else. But it's a good story. Go for Columbus.
And throw it in his face as well, too, that victory, right? It was a pretty resounding win. Like, I know Seattle had chances at the end. They couldn't buy a goal. But, I mean, at the end of the day, they got off to an awful start, and Columbus took full advantage.
Yep.
So, but, guys, let's move on to the next segment here. Let's move on to Austin FC here, the expansion. That should be what I mean. No TFC players got taken right now.
Too bad.
So
I don't blame them. There's not a good crop right now.
Listen, when you're Austin FC, right? You don't have anyone on your team right now. Why not take a flyer on an Erickson Gallardo? He hasn't panned out for Toronto, but I know he's on a bit of an expensive contract. But what do you have to lose if you're Austin FC? He's a young kid. From South America. He looks like he can play. He just needs an opportunity, and he's not getting that opportunity on Toronto. And I feel like when he did come into play, there was too much pressure on him, right?
Yeah.
Go to Austin FC. You could probably flourish there. I don't know why they wouldn't take a chance on a guy like that or a guy like Tsubasa Endo as well. Tony, we don't need to hear your comments on this. We know how you feel about Endo. But it looks like, but they swiped left on him or right or whatever way you swipe when you don't want someone on Tinder because they didn't want Tsubasa. But I don't understand. Those are 2 guys I think could have helped that team out really well, and they didn't pick them. Good for TFC in the sense that we didn't lose any players. Bad for TFC. We didn't lose any of those contracts either because it would have been nice to get Gallardo's off the books.
It's true. Tony, who do you think leaves out of all of this? Who do you think we bring back as well?
Bringing back Endo, you can't bring it back. I don't. You got to figure out a way to get rid of him. Same with Zavaleta. I was kind of hoping he would have got picked up, but I think was he on the list?
He was on the list. Yeah,
he was on the list. Yeah,
that was someone that I would be shocked that Austin didn't take because, I mean, he is proven in MLS, and he's he's probably going to be a cheaper contract than most. So
I was going to say, I don't think he got chosen because I think he was out of contract. They could probably try and pick him up starting January anyways, right? So why waste? They'd get his rights to sign him first now, but why not just wait if you want him at that bad anyways? So
yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's true.
True. Are you surprised they didn't take Piatti?
Not really.
I am for sure.
Piatti's by far better than any player they picked up in the list. The issue is he'd have to be signed to a designated player contract.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. If you want to pick up a designated player, you want to rather pick one that you actually think can see a future, right? And I know he had a good year, but at the end you saw the injury problems. Literally the one thing that was wrong with him at the beginning of the year happened, right? So
yeah, and also the marketing factor too, right? For your first DP signing, you want to make it big, you want to make it huge, and especially at TFC, we've been known for our DP signings. So
does this give us hope? Does this give us hope that Piatti might be coming back on a TAM deal?
I know he liked it here. For sure. I mean, he had great chemistry with Pozuelo for sure. I personally don't see it happening. And there's reasons for that because I think TFC, the way they have to build is they have to go a little younger. Piatti's getting up there in age and, TFC, especially with the players that are coming up, I think they could do, a lot better as well. So there's room for improvement there.
What about you, Tone?
Yeah, I don't expect him to come back either. I mean, yeah, if he comes for TAM money, it would be great, but I don't see him signing that contract at this moment. I see like smaller team, like Inter Miami. I could see him going there for that kind of money, but I don't see him staying.
I hope you're both wrong. I hope we get him back on a TAM deal. I remember when we signed him, there were kind of rumors that it would be a 1-year designated player contract, and then if he did want more, it would move to TAM the years following, and it's kind of followed that footstep so far. So it would be nice because, like you guys said, he did have really good chemistry with Pozuelo, and even with Akinola there and stuff like that. They played well together, bouncing off each other. So I would like to see him come back as a TAM, and then we could bring in another DP as well. So that I hope we see that happen again. Like you guys said, it's not looking too likely, but we can dream, right? So.
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, let's move on to potential coaches for TFC.
That's the hot button topic.
Oh, my goodness. So, I mean, there's a lot of rumors going out there. We've had some Laurent Blanc thrown out there, the former French national team coach.
Benny Olsen.
Exactly. A lot of big name resumes coming TFC's way. So, Tony, who do you think's gonna be our next coach here?
I think it's gonna be Patrick Vieira. That'd be my choice of the three between Sousa and Blanc and him. Because Vieira, he did really well with New York. And the only thing that stopped him from winning championships was Jovinko. Because he got eliminated in all those years, right? So he had a great setup there, right? And another, the good thing is in MLS, there aren't really any big star coaches. So you could have a half-decent coach and he'd still be a very successful coach in MLS. So I think that's a good thing for TFC when they're in this process.
Nico, what do you think?
Yeah, and seeing Vieira in a derby against Thierry Henry a few times every year would be something pretty awesome to see. However, I've heard the names. You've heard Laurent Blanc, you've heard Patrick Vieira, you heard Ben Olsen from DC, which would be an absolute disaster if they bring him in. You've heard Sosa. You've heard there's been a few names that have been floating around. But I'm going to go with the man who's got no hair and we don't care because it's Danny Dichio. I'm thinking they pull a complete left field move and they hire up Danny Dichio who's been coaching in the youth systems to come up and take hold of the first team. Here's why I think that. Now, I don't see an external hire happening. The reason why is we have such a defined culture in Toronto. We come from a team that's had Vanny coaching them the past 5 years now. 5 or 6 years, that's bottled in my head. And he's instilled that culture in the team. A new coach from an external source coming in, if they want to implement their own culture, good luck. It's going to be tough. Now, however, if you bring someone within, even if it's not Danny Dichio, even if it's the assistant they have right now as well, who they spoke on bringing up too. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but they've talked about bringing him up. But they need someone internally to keep that culture, but also help move them forward. I see it very much like the Toronto Raptors. They lost Dwayne Casey. Who did they hire? His assistant, Nick Nurse, who came up and elevated that team with the already pre-existing culture to next levels. That's what TFC needs. We have a good culture in place. We need someone to take us to that next level. And I think an internal hire would be a good call on that one. I'd be happy with Danny Dicchio or our assistant coach as well. Let me just Google his name while you give us who you think, Dante.
Niko, I gotta say that's a fantastic point there, and especially I can't even imagine what the 23rd minute's gonna look like.
Oh,
if he's the coach, the first game of at home at BMO, and everyone's screaming, "Oh, Daddy Dicchio!" Oh my goodness, that'll be absolutely incredible.
Jason Bent, that's the name I was thinking of, the coach for
Jason
TFC,
Bent.
the assistant coach for TFC. Jason Bent or Danny Dicchio would be my pick. But okay, Dante, go ahead.
Well, for me, I'm gonna go with the last podcast. I'm still sticking with Coach Bobby. I still see the bones there. I know Forge has come off a terrible loss there. Outside there, it was a horrible loss. But I forget the team's name. But it was in CONCACAF Champions League. They lost 1-0. They fell apart there. And obviously they got a big game coming up against TFC. So I don't know when the date of that is yet, but that should be interesting. But I just think, what Coach Bobby has done, I think it's enough to get a TFC job. I really think it is, considering, that team, they didn't expect much from him. Well, not only that, just the results, right? Back-to-back CPL championships, especially their run in CONCACAF. I think that's phenomenal considering what he started with. And not only that, he's got more players now. And as I said earlier, like in the previous podcast, if they could get the same message across, if Coach Bobby could get the same message across that he's done with Forge to TFC players, I think they're all going to play for him and they're all going to play hard. So,
do you think he wants the job though?
I don't know. I mean,
that's something we have to talk about too, right?
He doesn't talk much. Right? In the media, he's very, serious. But I don't know. I just have a feeling he's a low-key guy. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
It's not a bad call. I mean, like you said, the last 2 losses actually, because they lost in the tournament, where if they won that game, they would have made it to Champions League, and then they lost the next game to try and get into Champions League as well. It was kind of a big blow up on Forge's part too in the one game when they lost in penalties, right?
That's right.
That's right. The goalie made quite a few mistakes. It was tough to watch. So does that blow up kind of dampen your excitement on going after Coach Bobby, or does it not affect it at all?
Well, you got to remember the quality of the players he has will be much better with TFC, right? So it's, of course, like Dante said, it's if he can get his message across. If he can get his message across, I think he can do well. But that's the thing, right? That's
what it is, yeah. That's what honestly, Niko, that's what it boils down to. Especially, with big names like Josie Altidore, for example. I know there was some friction with him and Vanny. Like, you got to get to players like that, right? And you got to motivate players like that. And, we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah, so. I hear you. And just quickly staying on the CPL train too, something we actually haven't talked about yet is the rebranding of York 9 FC.
Yes.
York 9 FC is now York United. What do you guys think of the name change?
Well, it's definitely a lot better, that's for sure. I don't know about the colors. The colors could be, now we got to change the colors in my opinion. But, York's doing some of the signings they're making. I think they're making some progress this year, last year, I just think, definitely could have been a better season for them. They had a lot of potential heading into the season, and boy, did they not live up to expectations at all. But, I think that's pretty much it for York. What about you, Tony?
I think if they had a full season instead of the island games, they would have been pushing Forge, because they did play well the island. It's just when you only play 6 games, one bad game, you're done, right? So
that's right. Yeah,
I think they would, if it was a full year, they would have done much better. And that's another guy for a coaching option. I mean, Jim Brennan, he's got the culture. I don't know. I would, that would be another guy that I'm thinking about. I wouldn't be surprised if he does come up, right? Like, I mean, he's got the connection with TFC and everything like that. So
let's hope not. Let's hope you didn't just speak that into existence, Antonio. I mean, I personally like the
I'm
rebranding.
1 for 1, so
you're not. Yeah, you're true. I mean, I didn't like the rebranding at all. If I'm to be honest with you, when I first saw the name and I saw the logo and I saw the colors, I was like, this is terrible. But then I saw the jersey come out with the green and blue. And then I kind of saw the logo in a better quality photo, and I kind of warmed up to it. And I mean, nothing can be worse, than the jersey they had last year that showed York Region as a map on their chest. That was the stupidest jersey I've ever seen in my life. So I kind of like it. It kind of reminds me of the Seattle Sounders jerseys a little bit. But again,
but that's the problem, Nico. That's the problem. Like they live in York Region. Like,
hey, but they play in Toronto. They play in Toronto.
Yeah,
where's this green coming from?
The colors of York Region are green and blue. If you look at like the York Region symbols and stuff like that.
Actually?
So, you know what? York Region's made up of Italians, and that's it. You just put blue, and that's it.
I didn't even know York Region had its own colors. I mean, again,
the Trillium thing, yeah.
Oh, that's true. This is the team, though, that plays its games in Toronto, but it talks about uniting York. How about you play in York? What the hell?
It's right on the border. It's right on the border.
York United was the rep team I played for in high school in Newmarket.
There you go. Probably got some Jim Brennan connections too, because he's connected in that Newmarket Aurora area, right? So
he actually came to a few of my practices.
Yeah, see, so there you go. He's probably the one that pitched that name. But they saw Atletico Ottawa's logo and Atletico Madrid. So if you look at the York United logo, it does kind of look like Real Madrid's a little bit with the crown on top and everything like that. So maybe they're trying to start that rivalry. They should have called themselves Real York.
That's my favorite part of the logo is the crown.
That's too good. I mean, we'll see. We'll talk about them more when the season starts. Right. I say we move to some Champions League now.
I agree, Nico. We got a huge round of 16 coming up for you guys, and it just keeps getting better, Nico. The champions
love it.
Are gonna be crowned pretty soon. What matchups you looking forward to, guys?
There's one for me that I'm very excited for in the round of 16, and it's a personal one, really. It's Juventus versus FC Porto.
That is a big one.
As FC Porto is one of my favorite teams, being Portuguese myself, it's been one of my teams growing up that I've always loved. Do they have what it takes to dethrone Juventus? Hell yes. Juventus looks like garbage this year, especially if Ronaldo can't play. For some reason, if Ronaldo's not playing, I think Porto takes it easily. If Ronaldo's playing, then hey, I win either way because I either see Ronaldo go through or I see Porto go through. But honestly, Juventus has not impressed me this year. They don't look like a team capable of making a run, just like last season when they lost early on as well. And they lost to a below average team in the French league. They can't handle the top team in Portugal. Come on now. FC Porto's going to walk in there, smack them around, and leave with a good win.
Tony, what do you think?
I actually think Porto will beat Juve. Porto played really well in the group stage. Like, those are one of the teams I watch the highlights every week. That was always the great games when they played. But the matchup I'm looking forward to is Atletico and Chelsea. That's gonna be two really tough legs. The way the two teams are built, almost kind of the same, very gritty, and I think that's gonna be a great run.
Who do you got winning?
I think Chelsea. Chelsea can take on Atletico.
Come on. Atletico Madrid's taking it all.
I don't know.
Really?
That's
a
first round.
They're my pick to win it all this year.
Wow, that's a dark horse.
As the Soccer Report's defending champion in Champions League predictions, might I add you. As I called Bayern as early as the round of 16 last year, I'm taking Atletico this year. But Dante, what about you, man?
Well, obviously, I could easily say Juve Porto right now. But I'm thinking I'm looking at that Barca matchup there that they have, and boy, do we have a slobber knocker of a game. I believe it's Barca and PSG, right?
Yeah. Do you really think Barca even has a chance the way they've been playing?
You know what? I know they played absolutely horrible against Juve.
They got slapped.
Exactly. Which I mean. It's an ecstatic win because Juve, for some reason, I don't know what it is. Champions League, they play a lot better than Serie A, but we'll see if that trend continues. But anyways, I love this matchup, but it's more personal for me. I want to see Neymar versus Messi, and I want to see how everything just integrates onto the field. It should be an interesting game. I see it more as a chess match, that game, because I know Barca is going to come in there and they're going to have their adjustments, but PSG is going to have their adjustments as well. So I'm thinking a good old-fashioned chess match there, and I'm really looking forward to that game.
And who you got coming out on top?
I still have PSG. There's just that extra firepower. Like, Messi needs that guy beside him.
Yeah.
Ever since those days with Iniesta and Xavi, like, it's just not the same.
And they haven't looked good.
No, they haven't. They haven't. They got to make serious adjustments and surprise everybody to even have a shot in this game. PSG, too much firepower with Di Maria, Neymar, Mbappe. It's just too much. It's too overwhelming. It's too overwhelming for them.
I agree with you completely. I don't like the way Barcelona's been playing this year at all. I think PSG walks through that 2 games easy. Thank you, next, as the great Ariana Grande once said. So who do you got taking? Let's make some Champions League predictions.
Yes.
Let's say, who do we got going forward? We know my pick already. I'm riding Atletico Madrid. My boy Joao Felix is there. Luis Suarez is there looking good as well. I love that team. I think they have what it takes to make a big run. I'm taking them to win it all this year.
Tony, who do you have to win?
Bayern back-to-back.
Bayern back-to-back, eh?
Got the champs going back-to-back.
They play so good. Like, I mean, Manchester City is playing good. Chelsea's playing good, but Bayern, it just makes that first round look so easy for them. And now they got Lazio, which they'll walk over Lazio.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I got them going.
I mean, right. Robert Lewandowski got a big trophy today.
Yeah, we'll talk about that shortly.
Yeah, we'll talk about that shortly.
What do we got?
I know I probably should say Juventus. I'll probably get in shit for this. But
don't waste your pick with that team, man.
I'm going to go Chelsea. I'm going to go Chelsea. I love the way this team's playing, and I know they got the firepower to keep up with Bayern, and I can see a Chelsea-Bayern final, and Chelsea is not going to forget what Bayern did to them. So I got to go Chelsea.
So me and you going head-to-head.
That's right.
Atletico Chelsea head-to-head.
That's
okay.
Right.
All right.
That's right. The winner of that matchup wins the Champions League.
Okay, that's exciting. I'm going to be looking forward. Now I need Atletico to win, both for my prediction and because I'm facing your guys. So let's go.
We'll see what happens there. Oh
man,
so guys,
Champions League being back's always nice, though, right, guys? Come on.
And not only that, what I love about Champions League too is anybody can beat anybody on a given night. If you don't show up that night, you're in serious trouble, and that's the way it is, especially with the away goals as well. I love that factor, even though it doesn't really matter this year because there's no fans. But that's what the Champions League's for. The kings of Europe are going to be crowned. So,
yep, for sure. And you talked about it with Lewandowski. FIFA Awards came out.
Let's get into that. Yeah,
let's get to it. Lewandowski obviously won Player of the Year, to no one's surprise. I don't see how anyone else deserves it. I know Ronaldo
over a goal a game.
Ronaldo looked disappointed when they didn't announce it was him. As much as I love Ronaldo, you didn't earn it this year, man. It was clearly Lewandowski. Most goals in Europe. Won the Champions League. Won the German League. I mean, you can't ask for anything else. It's definitely Lewandowski.
Nico, it's hard to agree with you. I mean, he's a special player on a special team, and they're the German firepower. They're the kings of Germany, and I mean, the amount of players that this team has is just absolutely incredible.
It's crazy.
You could pick so many players on that team for the top starting 11, and with Tony's pick there, it's going to be very hard to beat them in Champions League. But he's a special player. Player.
Yeah, and finally some good Canada news. Alphonso Davies named to the top 11 of the year, the first CONCACAF player to ever be named to that team, the third player ever to be named to that team outside of Europe and South America, which is insane to me. But all class, he definitely deserved it. Left back, I'm so happy to see him there. What about you guys?
Tony, what do you think?
Yeah, no, that was so deserved on his part. Like, he played amazing this year for Bayern. Like I had said in an earlier podcast, in that final, he had a yellow card early in the game, and he played even better on the yellow card. Like, he's such a professional out there on the field, and just everything he does is amazing with Bayern. He fits that team so well, and it's well deserved. He's the best wing back in the world at the moment.
You know what, Nico? It's such a dream. It's such an honor, really, to watch this man develop, mature, and just keep smashing records. The fact that he is so young and what he does for Canadian soccer, he has that superhero-like quality that this country has exactly needed. And what I love about Alphonso Davies is he's clearly going to inspire so much youth here. Hopefully one day, it's always been my dream to interview him, for all of us to interview him. We'll see if we can make that happen one day. But Alphonso Davies, what he means to us and Canada and Canadian soccer is just epic proportions.
It's crazy. And he was just named the co-winner of the Lou Marshall Award as well for biggest Canadian male athlete of the year. He tied it with the Kansas City Chiefs guy who quit to be a doctor, Laurent Duvernay or whatever his name is. I don't know too well.
The lineman, lineman there.
Yeah, he won a Super Bowl, but I mean, I get why they gave it to him because he stepped down from the Chiefs and he went to the hospitals during COVID to work there. Do I think he should have won it? No, it should have been Alphonso Davies by a landslide, but what are you going to do? It's Canada still, right? So, but you're right. He's going to inspire so many kids. Him and his girlfriend right now too, Jordan Huitema, who's been killing it as well.
She's a soccer player as well, yes.
Both of them are going to inspire a whole generation of young Canadians growing up playing the sports. So, I mean, you love to see it.
Niko, another thing too, the World Cup, right? It's coming here in 2026.
2026.
The way how fast things are going in our lives right now, next thing you know, it's going to be 2026. But Alphonso Davies playing it could be behind here. You never know.
Yeah. Captaining the team, in my opinion.
He better be the captain, and he better not play left back. He better play center mid or something, because that's the only way Canada's going to win a game if he's in the middle of the field and.
Canada's got some guys coming up, Jonathan David starting to find his footing. Steven Eustáquio, who plays over in Portugal. Apparently, Sporting and Benfica and Porto are all looking at him too to take him as well. So we got some young guys coming up, and our team's looking good. So I'm excited for 2026. Hell, I'm excited for 2022. I think we have a chance at making it.
Absolutely. Especially we got the firepower coming up for sure. We just got to, get more chemistry and more games under our belt, and you never know. Canadian soccer, the potential is through the roof here. We finally have an established league. We finally, it's so funny because, growing up, you'd always hear from these old guys, "Oh, Canadian soccer is not going anywhere." Like even my dad was one of those people. I'm not gonna lie, but that's just the way it is now. Right now, it's gonna get better. And I have full support for this, and it's going to be great.
They just need to start marketing better, because really, what person does anyone know that owns a Canada soccer jersey? Like, come on,
Tony.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, my screen fell. Oh my god.
Okay, the one person that has one, all right? They need to start marketing themselves. They need to go harder. They need to get better. They need to start doing more on social media. And we need to really get the feeling of soccer in this country alive. That's something we need to do. And we need to help too, You know
what the thing is too, Niko, though? Like, I'll give you an example here. So you want to market stuff? Do it on Canada Day, for example. Put on Canada Day, Alphonso Davies jersey on sale, blah, 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 blah. And next thing you know, Bob's your uncle, all these little kids start going to the soccer stores. And that's it. Things like that, because when people go to the soccer store, what's the number one sellers? The Ronaldos, the Messis. The kids want those jerseys. But like I said before, if we have that hero figure and Alphonso Davies is on the wall, kids are going to see that name and they're going to remember the name.
You hit it right there when you said on the wall. You go to these stores and you see the athletes they have up there. None of them are Canadian.
That's right.
Like there's a controversy because I forget which female soccer player it was up at the Adidas store, I believe, in Woodbridge. And they're saying, why don't you put a Canadian woman soccer player on the team? We have so many good ones to choose from. Why do you choose someone who's not Canadian? You don't go to the States and see Canada athletes on their wall. They got all Americans. Yeah, we got to do the same here too. We have enough star power now to highlight who we have. And okay, if you sprinkle some TFC as well because they're Toronto, fine. But we got to start marketing our own players very well. And that's what we're not doing great right now. Change that up. Let's get Davies out there. Let's get Huitema out there. Keep going Sinclair out there. Throw them all out there. Why not? What do we have to lose?
Exactly. And that's the only way this is going to promote Canadian soccer. I think it's one of the simplest ways.
And then maybe one day there will be other people other than Tony to wear a freaking Canada's jersey,
That's true. And, even we could throw in the CPL, right? Like if York, I know they got the stores online and stuff, but you know what I mean? The marketing's just not the same. The feel's not the same,
Yeah. Have you guys ever seen a York or any CPL commercials outside of your direct channels? Because obviously we all follow soccer, right? So we got directed. But outside of that, like I guarantee you talk to any average person, they don't know what the hell the CPL is.
No, they don't. Straight up, they don't.
It's tough. You can't grow unless you grow your brand, which is what Canada needs to do.
Exactly.
And use Tony as your figurehead. I think you own what, 2 CPL jerseys? That's like 25% of their whole entire sales last year.
You know what?
The Forge and the York 9. Yeah, that's what I got.
Like,
good jerseys, but
here's another idea too, right? Like, you know how the Raptors won and they go to like the, Parliament and things like that. In the CPL, if they do something like that too, like that's another good idea. You know what I mean? The winner goes to see.
Send Forge to go visit Trudeau.
There you go, right? So just the little things, you know what I mean? And then, it can get out there. But,
have a meeting with Dougie Fort.
That's it.
Get into the drinks with him. I'm sure he's a great time.
or at GTA Sportsplex, right? Shout out to Tony.
We'll host
bring
the party.
Team out there,
yeah.
There you go.
We'll get Tono's everything to host the party at GTA Sportsplex, and we'll have everyone there.
Perfect. Oh man. Well, I'll tell you what. That's it for us, guys. Stay tuned for more podcasts. A lot more to come. Thank you again to our sponsors, Cataldi Fresh Market. Check them out, guys. Unbelievable place for all your bakery needs, hot table, deli, produce. And, of course, follow us on Instagram at the Soccer Report Podcast. We just had a contest as well, so stay tuned for more contests. It was Panettone season. Thank you guys for participating in that. And, of course, on YouTube at the Soccer Report Podcast. To watch videos like this one, go there on YouTube. Should be great. Thanks again, guys. Have a good one.
See you later.